George Janko finally sits down with Bobby Lee and presses him about the podcast altercation they had on Impulsive, and then this happens. In this Impulsive episode, Bobby Lee jokingly seems to S.A. George Janko. And then moments later, George Janko storms off the podcast at the shock of his co-hosts, Logan and Mike. Now, this made massive news, with channels like Jamari and others taking the bait and claiming that George Janko wasn't a real comedian because he didn't know how to take a joke.
So after this, George spent the rest of the podcast like a little girl pouting in the corner.
Fast forward almost 2 years later, and George Janko has left the podcast, started his own podcast, and has leaned into telling what really happened during that altercation. Come to find out, there was even more sus behavior that was edited out of the podcast to make George come off even more unhinged. And this entire situation has contributed to the recent back and forth we've seen Logan and George have on Twitter. But what none of us were expecting was George inviting Bobby Lee onto his podcast to clear the air on what really happened.
When you walked off the set, I literally was confused.
And Bobby Lee's confession here is refreshingly shocking, as well as how this entire episode ends. But before we get into that, guys, my name is Ruslan. This channel exists to encourage, empower, and inspire you to live a life that blesses God. If you're new here or if you're not new here, please make sure to hit that subscribe button, as we are on the verge of cracking 600,000 subscribers, and I would love to celebrate that with you. All right, let's jump into the reaction.
I'm going to open up by saying that I'm sorry. I feel, I just want to break down what happened with the Jake Paul podcast.
Got it.
Okay. So, I usually do podcasts in my ecosystem, right? So it's like, I know the rhythms, and I know what I can and can't say, and generally, everything, is, people are pretty open to, they know who I am, right? But with you guys, I didn't know, so and also it's a huge platform, so I was like super nervous. So, I tend to get...
Pause it. So one, big props to Bobby for apologizing out of the rip. I think that's a massive W. Two, he is saying that when I'm usually doing pods, I'm doing it with my buddies. We're all kind of sus weirdos, and we all know that, like, we're gonna, it's the, this is the white boy humor. Like, we're gonna tap each other's penis and that whole thing, right? So I think that's what he's getting at. Now, I want to give you guys a heads up. There might be some profanity in this. We'll do our best to clean it up on the back end if we can. But I think it's awesome that Bobby apologizes and then provides context to say, hey, this is what was going on. I was going into a situation, and I didn't actually think about it from Bobby's perspective that this is one of the biggest podcasts he's been on, with Logan Paul. Yeah. So he's probably nervous and just trying to, like, break the tension. And then poor George is, like, already awkwardly positioned in between him and the other host. And so he's doing the weird, nervous thing that he would normally do with his friends, and he projects that on George, and it goes off the rails.
Do you think he was trolling when he just said the Jake Paul podcast?
No, I think he misspoke.
You think he misspoke?
That's hilarious. That's hilarious if he did. No, that's amazing. Go ahead.
Bullish and out of survival. Okay.
And you looked at the weak calf. I get
No,
it, dude.
you're not a weak cat.
No, I get it, dude. I get it, dude. I would do the same thing if I saw him. No, you can't eat him.
Okay.
Stop.
So anyway,
Bobby,
I gotta get a taste.
Save my dog. Get him out of
He'd
here.
be so delicious, though.
Dude,
I just took his
I
Was
saw
that wait, was that
That was
an
an Asian joke.
Darkness.
This man, George Janko.
Hey, Bobby just bring out that part of people, apparently.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
George Janko just entered his villain arc.
Wow. Super. This is how super villains are born. All right, go ahead.
You lick him before you lick you.
Yeah. God, no MSG or anything. I love it. But anyway, so when number one, I do so many podcasts. I don't even remember what I said or did or didn't do. I remember moments. And also secondly, when you walked off the set, I literally was confused by it. I don't know the drama behind the podcast. I know that you had written this speech.
I wish I had writers for it.
Right? And
He's still roasting him. That's the amazing part. Now, guys, we're gonna get to a part of this that takes such a pleasant turn that honestly shocked me that Bobby's gonna ask what he asked for towards the end of the pod. It shocked me the way George went about it. But let's let this kind of flesh out a bit more.
Yeah, because we'll hear George's side of the story too.
Yeah.
I thought the comedy instinct was to say that it was like boring or whatever, and I fell asleep.
Yeah.
And the third thing is that, and I truly don't remember, and it is on brand, but I don't remember ever trying to touch you. But if I did that, I literally don't remember. But if I did that, I'm sorry.
He's literally in 4K, repeatedly touching him, and that's the part that went out and is still up. That's not what George allegedly says. There's an edited. The raw version's even worse. So at this part, I go, Bobby, you're handling this well, but you don't remember. Like, what type of drugs you on, dude?
Yeah, it's a fact.
Do it for comedy reasons. I don't know anything about your religion or who you are. In fact, I didn't really know who you. I know who you are now, but I didn't really know who you were. And but with all that being said, I really truly apologize. I love people. I love podcasting, and I think that you're a voice that people talk about now, and you're
like
here,
you're popping. Now you're a big deal. Back then, you're a peon.
Yeah.
So whether or not he does this on other podcasts he goes on, to me, in terms of the touching, I don't know if that makes it better or worse.
Yeah, that doesn't make it good.
That doesn't make it good. If he does it on it, that's not like a Uno gotcha card. Like that's like a wait a minute. Like that's sus.
Yeah.
Like
where there's smoke, there's fire.
Right. And yeah. So I think he's handling this like a champ and rightfully apologizing. Go ahead.
I just apologize. It's like
Thank you, bro.
I'm sorry.
All joking aside,
Seriously.
for real, I really appreciate that. Can I tell you what really, really hurt me though? I ain't Ringo, bro.
You're George Martin.
No, do you know what I'm talking about or not?
No, but
He literally doesn't remember.
He doesn't remember the conversation, George.
you mean with you?
You called me Ringo.
I know. So who are you, George Harrison in that?
I'm George Janko.
Okay, you're George.
Come
Janko.
on, George.
But so
Stand your
I
ground,
refer to you
baby.
as Ringo.
Put your chest
in that
out.
podcast.
That was the only thing that hurt me. I
that
was like,
hurt you?
I feel like I'm not Ringo. I feel like
Well, I mean, you're not John Lennon.
Get out.
No. In terms
Get
of
out.
Hold on. If we're going off of analytics and where George's career is now, Impulsive is doing 11, 12 million views a month. George is doing 30 to 40 million views. For context, Rogan is doing 50 to 60 million views a month on YouTube only. Wouldn't that make George
Ringo or John Lennon?
John Lennon? Just sheer math, right? Go ahead.
between you.
No, between all of them.
Yeah.
I'm definitely John Lennon.
Oh, you really?
I know
So
for
who's
a
Ringo? Who's Paul?
Paul.
All right, so he goes on to basically explain what hurt him about this was not necessarily Bobby Lee. He enjoys Bobby Lee. Bobby Lee is going to do what Bobby Lee does. It was the way it was framed by his friends and the work environment that he was in. That is what was most hurtful, and that is what George shared when he had the confrontation with Mike. Rightfully so. All right, so let's jump to the part of the conversation where now Bobby surprisingly asks George Janko for prayer, and George Janko rightfully goes like, "Are you trolling? Like, are you trying to be funny?" Right?
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. How do people get sober in AA?
They put it on a higher power.
The second step is you find a higher power.
What was your higher power?
Mine's God.
Amen.
Okay, it's not Jesus. You know what I mean? But it's a God of my understanding. And I truly believe that a higher power took the obsession away from me. I don't think about it. It's not an option. It's not a part of my life. I truly believe that. And everyone in the program.
What if this becomes the on-ramp for Bobby to give his life to Jesus? Like this entire mess of a situation.
Yeah.
And he's claiming to be a theist. So remember, there's levels to it. There's atheist, agnostic. There's deist, which is like God is real, but he's far away and he's distant. He kind of set the universe in motion, checked out. Then there's theist. God is a personal God that has standards and preferences and commandments for how you're to live. And then we would then transition into Christian theist and ultimately born again follower of Jesus. So what if this becomes the on-ramp for Bobby to potentially have an encounter with Jesus? Like how incredible would that be? Hey, if you're watching this, guys, do me a favor, smash that like button. So many of you guys watch this and don't hit the like button. And that really does help a ton in terms of getting the video further out there. All right, let's watch the second moment.
If they have any kind of time, they believe it too.
Amen.
So when you talk in that way about prayers and this and that,
I believe it.
I don't balk it, and I don't ridicule it. I believe it, right? I think where you and I have a problem, would have a problem, is who that God is.
Yeah.
Right. But I truly believe in God. I really do.
You know the best thing we could do?
I don't want to sit and pray with you.
You should.
All right.
No, I'm being so serious, bro, because
That didn't take a lot of convincing.
I don't want to sit and pray with you. You should. Okay. All right. I know. That is amazing.
He was ready.
He was ready.
He just needed one more push.
Push. Go ahead.
we could even do like a.
Let's do it now, though.
Okay. Well, I'll
Let's
start
do
it
it now.
out. I'm
No, we
being so
gotta
serious.
get on our knees.
I can't mock a prayer.
I'm not mocking it. That's how I pray. I don't pray without getting on our knees.
I'll pray on my knees,
Wow.
but I just if
I'm
we're
not
gonna pray,
mocking it.
we can't mock it.
We're not mocking it.
All right.
We have to get on our knees. That's how I pray.
Okay, but if I pray and you mock,
That's I mean, who would have thought that Bobby Lee prayed on his knees? There is something to praying on your knees that's different. Now, I primarily pray by writing in my prayer journal, right? Which you guys can get one up at pick one up at blessgod.shop. It's on sale right now, cheapest price we've ever had it. But there is something to Bobby Lee's point about praying on your knees. There's a reverence and an awe that comes along with, let me get in a position to be humble and low before the Lord. Go ahead.
we're gonna
mocking
pray,
it.
we can't mock it.
We're not mocking it.
All right.
We have to get on our knees. That's how I pray.
Okay, but if I pray and you mock, I'm walking off again.
I'm not gonna mock. I don't know I'm not make fun of it.
Yes.
Okay, let me go get some water.
Okay. Dude. Hold on, let me grab my mic.
Wait, stop. You're mocking.
Well,
You're
can I grab
laughing.
Are you gonna mock this prayer?
You're mocking it by laughing.
I'm not mocking it, but
Was he not mocking first?
stop. He's using comedy to deflect.
No, who's a mockingbird?
He
Me?
pointed at you.
You think so? I'm mocking it? He was laughing.
George's team, by the way, off camera, already did not like Bobby. So there was some tension off camera. So they're like, no, you.
Yeah, you are.
Go ahead.
All right, dude.
This is such a cool moment right here.
Hi. All right. I like this.
You're not gonna face the camera?
No, it's between me, you, and God.
Can I face the camera?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. Tommy, could you get Tommy out of here?
Yeah, I like Tommy.
All right.
We don't hold hands.
I could hold your shoulder.
Please.
Okay. God,
I do this?
Absolutely. God, I know that you brought us here for a reason, and I appreciate it. And Lord, I'm so excited that I made a good friend today. I ask that
He closed his eyes right after you said that. He's listening.
today that his eyes and ears are open to you. And I
Wow.
pray that not only could he have a sober heart,
The girl.
I pray that Bobby finds a woman that blows him off of his feet and that finds something that's a companion and shows true love. That way he could truly understand where love comes from, Lord. And I believe that you are love. God, I hope that you don't see this in a mockery. I see a man that's truly calling out to you. And I pray that he finds you and that from there his fruits are so heavenly that he just wants to share that with the world. In your name I pray, amen. I like that, bro.
Yeah, that was nice.
Who would have ever thought I'd
That's
pray
pretty
with
cool,
Bobby Lee
man.
on a podcast?
And God help Bobby Lee have a radical encounter with you, Jesus.
It's a fact.
Have a radical encounter and get to know you. In Jesus' name, amen. How cool was that, man? That's awesome, man. Props to George. Props to Bobby for owning it, apologizing. Not like this. Definitely the part of the internet that wasn't a fan of Bobby because of how he treated George, in my opinion, I think gets one over. You know. So anyway, guys, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to smash that like button. And if you want to hear a different video, watch a different video that YouTube recommends for you. This is a real recommendation. This isn't me pre-selecting it. This is YouTube trying to see if you like this video. Check this out over here. Then after you watch it, let me know if they nailed it. All right? We're out of here. Peace.